What is going on, everybody? Today I'm here with Aaron Yadgaroff and Akshay Kumbar, and today we're going to be talking about the European 2020 Championships. Now, Aaron, this was your idea for this show. What are your
hmm
thoughts heading into this tournament, and what do you think some of the major storylines are going to be?
I'm really excited. I was only excited last year, but sadly, COVID uh, ruined that situation. So yeah, there's a lot of favorites for this tournament. There's France, Portugal, England, Belgium, Germany, many Spain. Also, people recommend Croatia, also World Cup finalists. So there's a lot of different teams that could be up there. A lot of players who didn't make squads and stuff like that. So very, very competitive tournament this summer.
Akshay, what are you thinking? You think it's as open as Aaron says it is?
I think so. I think that, the fact that there's going to be 12 different host cities definitely plays a big part in this tournament. I think that it's an open tournament for anybody. Maybe not so much for, that group F team, those group F teams, but I mean, and other than that, I think it's a, well-rounded tournament. I think that anybody can win it.
Well, let's not waste too much time here. Aaron, you had some picks here for us. We're going to start with the group stages here. So these are your picks. We've got them on
Yep.
screen here. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you're thinking about each of the groups?
All right, so the first shock of the day, Group A. I have Turkey taking it, which is I know a lot of people would not agree. I think their defense is so good, so young. Soyuncu, I love. I'm a big fan of Demiral, and Kabak is also a very good young defender. Yilmaz, leading goal scorer in the French league, won the league with Lille. I think Turkey is a surprise. I actually also like their goalkeeper Kakir a lot. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Captain of Trabzonspor and was linked with big moves to Chelsea at one point. So yeah, Italy, I like them a lot. Good leadership in the back, good midfield also with Barella, Jorginho, and Verratti. Switzerland, they play very slow, not really my style of football that much, but they have some good players, great defense, good midfield, not the best forwards, but yeah. And then Wales, I don't think they'll have the magic they had last time they were in the Euros.
Of course, Turkey and Italy are going to be the first game of the tournament, obviously. Who do you think is going to take that one?
I think Turkey will take it. I think it'll be the very big surprise of the tournament, or one of the many. I think there'll be a few more. But Group B, we're going to go over to now. Belgium, I think if they don't win this group, it's terrible for them. Denmark or Belgium, also with Belgium, I think they have a great offensive line. They lack a little bit in the fullback department, but their offense is good forward wise. Midfield, Kevin De Bruyne, Yuri Tielemans, I love both of them. Axel Witsel is also very talented. And then their defenders are good. Vertonghen and Alderweireld, Deny are all good, but the wing backs, I think they're going to be playing back five, struggle a little bit. Denmark, I like a lot. Christensen, Eriksson, a lot of other good players. Russia and Finland, they're not the best teams. Finland has Hradecki, a good goalkeeper, plays for Leverkusen, Russia. They have Golovin, who I'm a big fan of, and Miranchuk. So I have Russia finishing third. In Group C, we got Netherlands. They'd be one of the big favorites, in my opinion, for the whole tournament if they had a healthy Virgil van Dijk. But yeah, I think this is also, like I said, Belgium in their group. It'd be shocking if they don't win. Austria, I think, has the most talented players after that. So I put them second. Ukraine, I like Zinchenko a lot. So he's played really well for City when he's had the opportunity. Macedonia, shock of the tournament to get into it. Tiny country with not many well-known players. So like they have Pandev and Ellis, who plays for Napoli. So we got for Group D, we're going to be rooting for our boys, England. Uh, I have England winning, obviously. I think they're most talented. Center back department's a little weak. We don't know if Maguire's healthy. We don't know if Henderson, who can play as a center back also, but mainly for a midfielder, is a little injured also. We got Croatia in second, World Cup finalists last time. I actually beat England in that semifinal. And then we got Scotland and Czech Republic. That was actually one of the hardest decisions, who to go third and fourth. And I think Scotland has slightly a better team than Czech Republic. In Group E, another hard decision. I actually wanted to put Poland above Spain, but Poland lacks a little defense. I thought Spain's squad was slightly better, so I put Spain first, Poland second. We got Slovakia finishing third. I like Slovakia's team a good amount. Skriniar is really talented. Hamšík hasn't been in a major league that much, but he's still very talented. I've watched some highlights from him. And they have a good keeper as well. Sweden, Ibrahimovic is injured. They don't have many great quality players besides Ibrahimovic. So in Group F, we got the group of death with France, Portugal, Germany, Hungary. Do not count Hungary out, though. Hungary won their group last time in the Euros, which no one expected. I do still have them finishing fourth. Do not count them out. I think France is the most talented team in the tournament. Portugal, super young with one of the best players ever on their team, Cristiano Ronaldo. And Germany, Yogi Löw's final tournament as a head coach. I'd be shocked if they don't get to the next round. And down here is where we'll be explaining that. So if you guys do not know, 4 third-place teams will be making it out of the group stage, and whoever has the most points of these teams will do it. I have Russia, Ukraine, Slovakia, and Germany. I just think the groups of Switzerland and Scotland, they won't be getting wins and they'll be getting draws. Well, I think some of these teams can get some nice wins.
Solid overall. Now, it's interesting you said not to count out Hungary, but you have them in last place. Do you think they take any points off of any of the top 3 in that group?
I personally do not, but I would not count them out. Like I mentioned, they have a very similar team as last time. They in the Euros, they finished first, shockingly, in that group. So, like I mentioned earlier, so these are, in my opinion, 3 of the 4 best teams in the whole tournament in this Group F.
Dominic Szoboszlai, I probably butchered that last name.
Szoboszlai for Leipzig.
There you go. He's obviously the leading man for the young Hungary squad. Akshay, why don't you go ahead and let's jump right into your picks here. Akshay, what you got for us?
Yeah, so I've got a somewhat similar list to Aaron, except I'm going to disagree with him on Group A. I think Italy's going to finish first. They've been on an absolute tear of late in international play. I think they've won, their past 11 out of 11 games, and I think they're going to carry this momentum into this tournament. And I think that, Turkey also has really great defense. I think that's why they're going to finish second in this group. And Wales and Switzerland, it was a toss up here for me, but I think that Wales has that experience from that run they made in 2016. I think that if they can find that form that they were in then, I think that that'll help them in the group stage. I don't think they'll make it all the way to the top 2 in that group. And then for Group B, I have Belgium at first. I think that this is one of their last opportunities to win a major tournament. They've been advertised themselves as the golden generation. I think this is their one of their last times to do it. And then in second place, I have Denmark. I think they're a really solid team. I think that they're well-rounded. I think they'll finish in second. And then for third, which is a surprise to most, I have Finland over Russia. I think that Finland is a very young team. I think they have a lot of upside on that roster, and I think Russia has kind of taken a major step back from that 2018 World Cup, and I think that's really going to hurt them in this tournament. In Group C, I have Netherlands in first. I think obviously many people would be very hesitant on this Netherlands team because Virgil van Dijk is injured. However, they have a great striker, Memphis Depay, and they have incredible midfielders with Frankie de Jong leading that. So I think that they're a very good team, and I, in my opinion, I think that's a surprise team to look out for in this tournament. Austria, they obviously did not have the Euro 2016 that they wanted, but I think that they've made some good adjustments. I think they've understood what it takes to win, and I think that they have enough young talent on this team to make it. And third, I have Ukraine. They're not obviously going to set the world on fire, but they have some strong defenders and midfielders. I think that will be able to help them in this tournament. And obviously in fourth, North Macedonia, not the most popular team, but it's surprised that they even made this tournament here in the group stages. For Group D, I have England in first. I think that they are a top 3 team in this tournament. I think they are very young and very talented, well coached, and I think that they have a good shot of redeeming themselves for the past tournaments they've been in. In second, I have the World Cup runner-up, Croatia. I think, obviously, if they had Ivan Rakitic, I think that they could honestly make a run for first in this group. But obviously, he retired from international play after that World Cup. But they still have a very good team in Luka Modric and Ivan Perisic. I think that they're more than capable of being second in that group. And third, I have Scotland. I think they have some very good young midfielders that will help them in this tournament. And in fourth, I have Czech Republic. Personally, I don't know much about Czech Republic, but I think that obviously, if they're going to try to make it out of this group, or even just get into third and try to make it in as a top four third team. I think that what they need to do is, at least steal a game from either Croatia or Scotland here. And in Group E, I have Spain in front. I think they're very they've shifted their team to a very young team now, very little inexperienced. However, I think they're very talented and they have very good veteran leadership. In second, I have Poland. I think Robert Lewandowski is going to set this tournament on fire. He's been one of the best goal scorers in the past 5 or 6 years. And I think that he's going to continue success in this tournament. In third, I have Sweden over Slovakia. Obviously, Sweden's missing their best player, but I think that Sweden has, I think that they'll find that, magic run that, Wales had a couple of years ago where they'll, get past Slovakia in this group. And for Group of F, which is the group of death, I was split. Obviously, I was going to put France at 1. They're the best team in this tournament. They have extreme talent at every position. But for second, I'm actually going to go with Germany here. I think that Germany has a lot to prove, and I think that they have a young core that is, eager to show to the world that they're ready and that they want to redeem themselves for that poor performance in the 2018 World Cup. In third, I have Portugal. I know they're very young and they have Cristiano Ronaldo. But I think that it's going to be a very close battle between Germany and Portugal in terms of points. So that's why I have Germany over Portugal here. And then fourth, I have Hungary. Like Aaron said, I wouldn't count them out. They'll definitely keep it close with these teams, but I don't think that they'll necessarily gain any points on these teams. And so my four best third place teams, I have Wales, Scotland, Sweden, and Portugal. I think that these teams all have good chances to steal a game and, if not, become close with that second place team in their respective groups.
Yeah. Yeah, I like those picks there. Certainly with Wales, Scotland being represented in your knockout stage, we're going to see some of the smaller nations in the world, which would definitely be good for the game. Let's go ahead here and we'll take a look at my picks. So here, you guys obviously have talked about a lot of the stuff that's been going on. I like Italy to top this group here. Now, as Aaron mentioned, Burak Yilmaz, the whole Turkey front line really is industrious. They may not be the most creative of what they're doing, but they know how to score some goals. That back line with Toprak, Kabak, they're very solid. I expect them to be comfortably in the top 2 here. Wales and Switzerland miss out for me. I think Wales get by on just having a little bit of better natural talent than Switzerland. Switzerland really just does not impress me. Group B, Belgium, the golden generation, as Akshay was talking about. They will be mostly without Eden Hazard. Obviously, he's in the team, but he's not in the form that he once was when he was a Chelsea player. He's really struggled with injuries and just consistency since moving to Real Madrid. Kevin De Bruyne was included in the squad, even though he suffered facial fractures in the Champions League final against Chelsea. His condition, remains to be seen. And if he does play, that kind of says something about how desperate they just might be for him in the middle of the park. Yuri Tielemans, Aaron mentioned, is a great central midfielder. He scored an absolute amazing goal in the FA Cup final for Leicester. So I think they win this group comfortably, but I'm not as high on them taking the whole tournament as most of the pundits are. Denmark, again, I think they're also comfortably in the top 2. They have some very solid players, Andreas Christensen, Pierre-Emil Højbjerg, Christian Eriksen, obviously being a few of the standout names. Russia, I don't think they find that miracle run that they did in the 2018 World Cup, which obviously was held in Russia. Finland, I know Akshay likes them. I'm going to have to pass there. They do have Teemu Pukki, the championship's top goal scorer from Norwich, but I don't think they muster anything here. Austria, I think they take Group C. I'm a big fan of pretty much all of their Bundesliga players. I think they're all very exciting and they play with a purpose, whereas you compare that to a team like the Netherlands, which really has seemed lethargic since Frank de Boer took over as the head coach there. He's playing the back 5, even though none of the players and none of the supporters really think it fits them. I think they go to second, and I honestly would not be surprised if Ukraine tops them. I put Ukraine in third and left Netherlands at second just out of respect for their natural talent. But keep your eye on Ukraine here. They have some young and exciting players, and they defend well. Group D, we're going over to England. Aaron's representing them with the kit he's wearing. England-Croatia rematch of the semifinal. I think England can get it done here. I think they beat Croatia head-to-head, and they get the full 9 points out of the group. I like the Czech Republic to finish third here. Tomáš Souček in central midfield was a candidate for Premier League Player of the Year. Scotland, this is only their third appearance. They've scored 4 total goals in 6 games. I don't like their chances here. I like some of their young talent. Obviously, Billy Gilmore looks like he's going to be an incredible player one day, but I just don't think they get it done. Spain, this is a very different Spain squad than what we've seen in the past. They're not as slow and possession-based. They're more exciting and creative. Maybe not as creative as some of the other teams like Portugal, but they still like to get down the wings. Poland in second. Robert Lewandowski broke Gerd Muller's Bundesliga record this season with 41 goals. I think that if he really wants to solidify his case for the Ballon d'Or, obviously he should have won last year, but the award was canceled. And he seemed to be the clear shoe-in for it this year until N'Golo Kanté of France really put some performances together. Man of the match in both legs of the semifinal in the Champions League and the final. If Lewandowski really wants to solidify his case, I think he needs to have a good tournament here. If Poland don't make it into the knockout stage, it's a nightmare for Lewandowski. Slovakia, they have some good talent, but they are getting older. Skriniar of Inter Milan, obviously we talked to Aaron, I believe, mentioned earlier, is a great player, but I just don't see them competing. I don't think they have enough goals in them. Sweden, their best player is 39 years old and he's injured. That place is a nightmare. Sweden, they get 0 points in this group. And then the team that everyone's talking about, France, I think they top this group with Portugal right behind them. Portugal have a solid defense. Most people only talk about their attack, but Portugal is very good on the back end. And of course, their attacking line, you have Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota. You've got plenty of depth on the bench. Portugal can score goals. That's not the concern. It's just if they can hold up against the better opposition. Germany in third here. I could have put them in second, and I could have put them in fourth, to be honest with you. Germany has some of the most amazing talent in the world, but they can't seem to mesh together when they play. Obviously, they were eliminated very early on in the World Cup. Jogi Löw, this is his last time managing the team with Hansi Flick set to come in. I put them in third, and I do have them advancing out of the third-place teams along with Russia, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia. I think Wales and Ukraine miss out just on virtue of the matchups they have within their group, even though I would be inclined to say that Ukraine might be a better team than the Czech Republic. But that's what I have. That's what I have there. Do you guys have any thoughts or any general takeaways on anything we talked about before we move on and talk about the actual bracket?
One thing for you guys I'm a little shocked of is the Ukraine not making it through that area. I feel like Ukraine has at least an easy 3 points in that group. So I don't know. I feel like 3 points will make it out of the placements, and I think they should easily be getting 3 points from the one match. So just a little shocked by both of you not selecting.
Yeah, the Ukraine-North Macedonia match, which you're referencing. North Macedonia, Akshay said, is one of the smallest teams in this tournament. Actually, it may be the smallest if I'm not mistaken. They did manage to beat Germany 2-1 in an earlier international match, so they do have some quality on their side. So it is definitely very possible Ukraine could get in. I guess Akshay and I just didn't think so. Akshay, you have any thoughts on anything before we hop into the final section?
I'm interested that you both picked Germany over if you picked Portugal over Germany. I think, Germany has, obviously, you guys have them going into the knockout stage, but I think that, Germany has a lot to play for. And I think that, I think, in my opinion, they're all going to be playing with, chip on their shoulder, kind of just like get revenge, really. So I think that'll definitely, just not so much like help them win, but I mean, like, just like rejuvenate them a little bit,
I can get into that, but like also right when my prediction, the knockout stage happens, I'll get into it more because they're my first match. So, but
Well,
yeah,
Aaron, why don't you go ahead and let's take a look at what you got here. You
all
you
right,
you just brought it up. Let's take a
yeah.
look at
So
your
look,
knockout.
this big matchup right here, two powerhouses, Belgium versus Germany, is a huge matchup. If you look at Germany's last few games against big oppositions, you'll see how badly they performed. Denmark was not a huge opposition, drew 1-all. They lost 6-0 to Spain. They drew 3-all with Switzerland, and Switzerland had a red card. Drew 1-all with Spain again, 1-all with Switzerland again. So like they drew 2-all with Argentina. They lost 4-2 to Netherlands. All these big oppositions, these young players don't seem like they can do that well. I'm a huge supporter of Belgium during this tournament. Romelu Lukaku is always on fire during these huge events. Belgium is definitely, I expect Belgium to win 2-0, 3-0 in that game. Next game will be Turkey-Austria. I think Austria does not have the defense that's good enough basically to keep up with Turkey. I think Turkey should win this game. I'd only assume a 1-0 win, though. I don't think Austria has the goal-scoring talent that Turkey does. So I assume 1-0 win for Turkey there. France-Russia. I think this is going to be a domination by France. And N'Golo Kanté will get the ball back at all times. Whenever they lose it, and then Benzema, who is slightly injured, might be back at this time. Benzema, Giroud, Mbappe, whoever's leading the line, Griezmann, will be putting some easy goals away in that match. Croatia-Poland, great match right here. I love Croatia's midfield. I think the combination of Brozovic, Modric, and Kovacic are really good three midfielders. And I love Perisic up front. Kramaric is really good. Their center backs are a little worrisome because Lovren and Vida are not in the best leagues in Turkey and Russia, respectively. And they have to go against Lewandowski, who is most likely going to win the Ballon d'Or this year. I'm going to slightly give it to Croatia. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, probably 3-2 to Croatia. Spain-Ukraine. Spain does not have Sergio Ramos, sadly, during this tournament. They have some good leadership in Busquets and Azpilicueta. If Azpilicueta starts, Ukraine doesn't have the best offense. They're pretty good defensively. Very sorry about it. They're very a little older than Spain. Spain's youth. So, but I'm going to give Spain a win. It'll probably be a 2-0, 2-1 game. And here's the biggest matchup of the whole tournament: England versus Portugal. England, young, really young, got great players. Phil Foden, in my opinion, future Ballon d'Or winner potentially. Mason Mount, love him. The only thing that I'm struggling with is Harry Maguire's health, like I mentioned. I don't know if Harry Maguire is healthy enough to be playing. I think by this stage of the tournament, he will be, for sure, be able to play. I don't know exactly how Portugal will be playing, if who's going to be starting, if it'll be João Felix, Ronaldo, Jota, Bernardo Silva in the midfield, who or what. So I'm leaning, sadly, I got to pretend I'm not showing this right now. I got to give it to Portugal. I think Portugal's the second best team in the tournament after France. I'm rooting for England, but Portugal, I think, is too
from
good.
Aaron.
Yeah, I'm playing with brain and not heart right now. Next up, we got Netherlands, Slovakia. Netherlands' midfield is way too good, and they still have De Vrij in defense. So De Vrij and De Ligt, who are very both talented players. So I'm a big fan of Wijnaldum, who just moved to PSG, and Frankie de Jong, two of the best midfielders in the world, in my opinion. I think Italy will beat Denmark right here. Their midfield is way too strong to not go. Immobile is a great striker. I'm hoping he can go to a bigger move. He went to Dortmund at one point in his career, and it didn't work out for him. But he's playing well in Lazio. So, yeah. Go back to the top. Sadly, I think this is the end for Turkey right here. I'm not the biggest fan of Belgium fullbacks, like I mentioned. And I think Turkey has Cengiz Under, who can destroy the fullbacks a little bit. And I think Yilmaz will be drifting out a little wide, too. But I think the way that Turkey will win this match, if they do, is needing to attack the fullbacks or wingbacks, because they'll be playing a 5-back of Belgium, because like Thorgan Hazard might be playing wingback when he's obviously a very offensive player. We got France, Croatia, a rematch of the World Cup final for last World Cup final. Croatia does not have Rakitic, as Akshay mentioned earlier. France is definitely my pick. If you can't tell, France is obviously the favorite of the tournament, as we've all mentioned. I expect France to win that game 2-0, 2-1. And Spain-Portugal. Portugal is just too good. I think Spain does not have the experience. Their center backs are very young, not experienced. Busquets is going to be really important in this game, trying to make sure Ronaldo and Bruno don't get enough touches. Probably be man marking Bruno a good amount. And we'll see how good Bruno is during the tournament because he's not going to be on penalty duty. It'll be Ronaldo on penalty duty.
Throw that in, didn't you?
I did. Netherlands, Italy. Oof, this is a tough matchup. I'm going to go with Netherlands. I think they have a more complete squad than Italy. Italy, as we mentioned earlier, are on a huge, great winning streak. I don't think they'll be playing as well. I think Netherlands is a little too quick for them. They have very older defenders in the Juventus guys and Bonucci and Chiellini. I think Netherlands is a really quick squad and very, very good with fundamental skills. Belgium, France. I think France will show off so much against this weak defensive team. Their wingers are great. Mbappe and Griezmann probably playing off the wing, maybe Dembele. So I think France will probably win that game 3-1 with Belgium scoring a late goal. Portugal, Netherlands. I got to go Portugal. It's going to be a very tight game. Netherlands' defense is going to be the most important part of the game. Try to get the ball to Frenkie de Jong as quickly as possible. Both their center backs are very good passers. Bring up de Jong, and de Jong needs to get that great pass if they want to win this game. I expected probably to go to penalties in this match, and Portugal with a little more talent in that department. Tim Krul, great penalty-saving goalkeeper, if you guys remember the 2014 World Cup, but I see Portugal doing that. And then we have a repeat of the last Euros and a battle between two people who are in Group F, or two teams, not people. I got to give it to France. Like I've mentioned multiple times, France is the best team in the tournament. Great defense, amazing midfield. Conte will get the ball back, and then having the best young player in the world in Mbappe. Portugal obviously has some great young talent in Ruben Diaz, Bernardo Silva, João Felix, Diogo Jota, but France will be doing this. I'm excited for Ronaldo to get back in the tournament or back in the final. Hopefully he won't be injured, and it'll be a beautiful match of football.
So you're sticking with the presumptive favorite France. Akshay, what do you have to say on the matter? Let's jump into your picks here.
Yeah, so I've got my round of 16 looks a little bit different from Aaron, but so my first match, Belgium and Sweden. I'm going to go Belgium here. I think that they have a much better team, talent-wise and experience-wise as well. So I'm going to have to go with Belgium here. I'm going to go 2-0 here as a score. Italy and Austria. I'm going to go Italy here. I think that their recent form as of late is really going to help them. I don't think, obviously I don't think it'll continue forever, but I think that they'll definitely squeak past Austria here. I think the score will be 1-0. France and Wales. I'm going to go France here. I think France is, going to just destroy Wales here. I think it's not going to be even close. I think France has the best team in this tournament, and I think Wales is just a little underperforming as of late. So I'm going to go France here. I'm going to go 4-1 as the final score. And Croatia and Poland. This is interesting because as Aaron was hinting at, Croatia's defense isn't a strong suit. It's definitely weakened since their 2018 World Cup. And Robert Lewandowski has been, incredible the past few years. Probably would have won the Ballon d'Or if that was if the award was, announced last year. But I think that Croatia's midfield is what really carried them to that World Cup final in 2018. I think they'll get it done again here in the round of 16. And so I've got Spain and Scotland. I'm going to go Spain here. I think they're a very young team and they're very fast. I think that they should have no problem getting past Scotland. England and Germany. I'm going to go England here. I think that England, obviously, they're very young, but they have Harry Kane. They have some great attackers, great midfield. Their defense is a little bit iffy as of right now. But I think that, they're a well-rounded team in that front and midfield. So I think, obviously Germany is, going to be disappointed with this, early exit, but I think that England will get it done. I think that'll take, I think it'll go into extras, but I think that England will win 2-1. And I've got Netherlands and Portugal here. I'm going to have to go Portugal. I think that, they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. I think that Netherlands is a little bit too inexperienced. They don't have that many, major tournament experience in the past couple of years. And I think that might hurt them against a very seasoned Portugal team. And then his last match here, I'm gonna go with Turkey. I think that Turkey is very strong. I think they're a dark horse in this tournament, and I think that their defense will be able to shut down Denmark, and their attack will put some goals up as well. So going back up to the top here, Belgium and Italy. I'm gonna go Belgium just because I think they have a little bit more talent than Italy. I think that overall their midfield is slightly, if not better than Italy, and they'll definitely control the pace of the game as well. And so France and Croatia, rematch of the 2018 final. I'm gonna have to go France here. I think obviously they're my pick to win this whole thing, but they have a great attack, and I think that Croatian defense will have a hard time keeping up with that France attack like they did in 2018. Spain and England, I'm going to have to go Spain here, even though they're missing their captain, Sergio Ramos. I think that they're a very talented team. I think they have good veteran experience in Busquets. And overall, I think that, Alvaro Morata is going to open a lot of eyes in this tournament. I think that he's been overlooked his whole career, and I think he's going to open some eyes up in this tournament here. And this last game here, Portugal and Turkey, I'm going to have to go Portugal. I think, Turkey's defense is great, but I think that, it's Cristiano Ronaldo on Portugal, and, anybody who he pairs up with is going to, succeed with him on the pitch. So I think that Portugal will get it done here. And so moving into the semifinals, I'm going to have to go France in this, semifinal rematch from the 2018 World Cup. I think France they're too good. I think that they're gonna, take over this game. I think Conte is going to be playing a huge role in this tournament. I think that Pogba and the addition of Karim Benzema back in this French team, I think he's going to play a big part of this, and especially in this game as well, with Belgium's defense not being as great as it was. And in the other semifinal game, Spain and Portugal, I'm gonna go Spain here. Actually, I think obviously Spain is not a team that many people would expect to make it this far, but I think that they're a good young team. I think they're hungry. I think they have a lot of passion. They play with a lot of grit, and I think they'll squeak past Portugal here. I think it'll definitely go into penalties for sure, but I think they'll win 5-4 on penalties here. And so this finals here. It's France and Spain. I'm gonna go France, obviously. I think they're just the best team in the tournament, and I think it'll be a close game for sure. I don't think it'll go into extras. I think it'll just go the full 90 minutes. I think France will win 3-2.
Akshay's taking France as well here, making it 2-for-2 on the favorites. Let's take a look at what I'm going to go with. In this first matchup, we talked about how Belgium's golden generation, this is one of their last chances to make it to the final and win it. I'm going to say they get past Germany here. I think Germany has all the talent in the world, and I think they have no idea how to use it. Pretty straightforward. Belgium get it done easy, 2-0, 3-0, comfortable. Second round here, I have Italy beating the Netherlands. I mentioned the dysfunction with Frank de Boer's team. I just don't think, for all the talent they have, I don't think that they play a system that fits them. I don't think the players are excited for playing for their manager. Meanwhile, I think Italy is totally the opposite. I think they're in a perfect stage where there's no expectations for them because they're basically refacing the entire squad. Obviously, you knew who was going to be on Italy's team in years past. You knew you were going to get Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini, Buffon, Pirlo. You knew where everyone was going to be. Now you have young, exciting players like Bernardeschi up front. I think that, or on the wing, excuse me. I think that this Italy team gets it done, and they're going to be very exciting, much more exciting than they have been in years past. France versus Russia here. Not even going to spend too much time on that. Croatia, Poland. I believe Akshay also had this matchup. I think this is very interesting. The midfield of Croatia just might be the best in this tournament between Brozovic, Modric, and Kovacic. All of them can get forward, they can play the passes, they can carry the ball past defenders, they can drop back and defend. I do think they have the best midfield in this tournament. And as much as I want to pick them, I think Lewandowski is too focused on his legacy at this point. I think he scores a brace in this game and gets Poland through just by himself. Spain versus Czech Republic here. Spain, I have no faith in, unlike I'm the anti-Akshay here. They have been dysfunctional with their training and preparation for the tournament. The COVID-19 has forced all of the players to be training on their own, so they're not even practicing together. They're missing their captain, Sergio Ramos, who was excluded because of all the injuries he suffered. I think Spain gets past a very poor Czech Republic team. But I don't think they do it. They make it look nice. Maybe 1-0, something like that. England, Portugal. I know Aaron had this one and he was dreading it because he's supporting England throughout the tournament. Both teams, I think, could make the final if they win this game. England, this for all the it's coming home chants that we heard in 2018. This is a team that looks more likely to do it. They are actually capable of attacking now. They have different options on the wings with Rashford, Foden, Sterling, Mount, Grealish. Portugal, quite the same. All the attacking options in the world. If Harry Maguire is full strength, I would think England can take it here. Even though I'm not the biggest Maguire fan, I do think he is extremely important to England's back line. I'm gonna assume Maguire is healthy, and I'm gonna take England here in a shock exit for Portugal because, like I said, I think whoever wins this match has a very good chance to get into the final on this side. Austria and Slovakia. I don't know that Austria have all the goals in the world on their side, but I also believe the same is true for Slovakia, and I like Austria's talent throughout the middle better, so I'm gonna take them here. Turkey and Denmark. Two dark horse teams, if you can call them that. That maybe not to win it all, but I think to make the quarterfinals, I think that's a reasonable expectation for one of these two. I like them both. I like how they both defend and use their midfield, but at the end of the day, Turkey has the leading goal scorer and French league champion Yilmaz. Denmark, I just don't trust them. So I'm going to go Turkey here 1-0. Going back up to the top, Belgium versus Italy. This one really pains me to do, and I've been contemplating it because I've been a Belgium supporter for a long time now. But I'm taking the young guys for Italy. Aaron touched on their immaculate record recently in qualifying. 11-0, I believe, is the current streak. Belgium, they were never great at defending the wide areas of the pitch, and now both of their center backs, or the three center backs in the back five, they're all getting on in age. They're looking less and less like themselves. Even though Denier has been a big help, I think Italy make it through here to the semifinals. France, Poland. If you want to talk about a matchup between strikers, you have Mbappe versus Lewandowski. That's going to be unbelievable. If you want to call that a push, that's fine with me. But the rest of France's team is just way too good for Poland. France get it through to the semifinal. Spain, England. If England can win that first game versus Portugal, this should be a breeze for them. I'm taking England 3-0, 3-1 here. Austria versus Turkey here. Again, I mentioned it. I'm a big fan of Austria's talent, and I also think that Turkey is one of the better underrated teams in this tournament. I think Austria are going to get through, and I know that I'm in the minority here, but I have Austria in the semifinal. And we'll stay here since we're already down here. Austria's brilliant run ends right there. England make it to the final. bring on all the memes about how England can never do anything. I know, I agree, but I think they make it to the final here, and they will be taking on France. Italy's magic run will end here. I don't think they have the pace in midfield to be able to contain the French attack. You could have Jorginho and Verratti in the same midfield, and if that's the case, people like Pogba, even Griezmann dropping in deep, they're just going to be able to advance the ball with too much ease. So I'll take France there. Maybe only 1-0 or a 2-1, something like that. Only one goal between them, but I will take France. And I have never been the guy to root for the favorite. I'm going with the underdog. I'm going with England here. Harry Kane, Golden Boot in the tournament and most outstanding player in the tournament. England take it 1-0. France go home. They won the World Cup in 2018, but they will lose here to England, and I'm sticking with it.
Wow.
What do you guys think about that?
I love to hear it as an England supporter, but I don't know. I don't know.
So we've got 2 for France. We've got 1 for England. How about we talk about our player of the tournament? Aaron, you've got France winning. Is it going to be a French player?
A player of the tournament, I think the player of the tournament always has to be on the team that wins the tournament. So yes, it's got to be a French player. I'm going to go with N'Golo Kante. I think how his form has been in the last 2 months of the Premier League has been insane. I think the French have so many amazing talents in offensive area that there won't be one player you'll be like, oh, he's the player of the tournament. Like, I think Mbappe will score goals. Giroud, Benzema, if he's healthy. There's so many different options for this amazing French team. I don't think there'll be an exact player that'll be up there. I think Conte is going to be doing a great job getting the ball back when they lose it, putting those amazing passes through, and also decently running forward also. So I'm going to think N'Golo Kante for the player of the tournament.
Akshay, what do you think?
Yeah,
do you agree with Conte?
I'm going to agree with Conte. I think as of late, he's been, arguably the best player in the world. I think he's incredible on the defensive end. He really, understands the game, understands how to control it, can easily switch the field. I think he's, a player to look out for. I think he's a player that many people will definitely try to avoid on the pitch, but I think he's, a great player. And I think that definitely if France wins, then he'll definitely be big part of that and player of the tournament as well.
Well, I'll give you 2 picks here. I obviously have England, and I mentioned it. I think Harry Kane will win player of the tournament. If you guys are right and it's France, I'm going to go with Kylian Mbappe as the player of the tournament. But that's if France wins. I'm sticking with my guy, Harry Kane. Let's move on to the Golden Boot here. France, you've got a lot of goal-scoring options. Griezmann, Mbappe, Giroud, Benzema. Aaron, who do you think is going to be the recipient of the Golden Boot?
Like I mentioned about a minute ago, I do not think it'll be a French player. There's going to be so many different options for France that are going to have goal scorers. I think I'd actually be not shocked if this guy doesn't win, but Romelu Lukaku is for sure the Golden Boot winner in my eyes. He lights up the scene during these tournaments. In 2016, that whole year, 14 appearances, 11 goals throughout 2016, which is when the last Euros happened. During the 2018 season, 14 appearances, 14 goals, and this is all for national team for Belgium. And he's already scored 3 and 4 this. So when there is a big tournament internationally, Lukaku plays insanely well. I think Lukaku, I'd be shocked if he's not in the top 3 goal scorers in the Golden Boot race.
He's definitely a great pick. Akshay, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm actually not going to go a French player here. I'm going to go with Harry Kane. I think his run as of his season in the Premier League, obviously he won the Golden Boot in the Premier League, and he was the co-recipient for the Golden Boot in the 2018 World Cup. I think he understands what it takes to produce at a high level on the biggest stage, and I think that he'll be an integral part of England's success. And I think that he'll definitely replicate that success as well that he's found earlier.
I mentioned it earlier. I'm also going to go with Harry Kane to win the Golden Boot. I like the Lukaku pick, and I like not picking a French player because I think they have so many options. The reason I'm going with Harry Kane here, not only was he the Golden Boot winner, but he was also the top assist man in the Premier League. So you know that with the ball at his feet, he is extremely comfortable. And he's going to be joined by a wide array of attacking options, which is not something that England has had in tournaments past. even still, Akshay mentioned it, he was a co-recipient of the Golden Boot before. So now that they're going to be much more of an attacking side, I can easily see him having the most goals in this tournament, especially if they make it to the final like I'm predicting. Now let's move on to the next category, the surprise team. Aaron, you said you were a big fan of Turkey. Would you label them a surprise team, or are you going with someone else?
They are my surprise team for sure. I think they could, by my bracket, I think they'll lose the quarterfinals against Belgium. But the bracket we saw by you, we could see them easily being the semifinals. I think against if they're playing Austria in the quarters, I think that'd be like an easy-ish win for Turkey to get there. Another team I think that people can be sleeping on a tiny bit is Croatia. I think they could win their group and beat England out for that group. So with no Maguire for like the first few games of the group, I think Croatia. I don't want to say it's a surprise team, but I think people are forgetting how good they did the last tournament. So obviously they would need to be playing Portugal or Germany, whoever finishes second in that group. But the surprise for the group stage could be them in that situation.
Akshay, you've got Spain in the final. Some would call that a surprise. Are they your surprise team, or are you going with someone else?
No, they are my surprise team. I think that they, obviously their expectations for themselves are high, but many people aren't really looking at them as a contending team in this tournament. But I think they are. I think that they have a very good, very strong midfield, very good defenders on the wings. I think that they have a lot of goal scoring forwards, and I think that many people aren't going to be looking at them as contenders. And I think that's why they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder, and why they'll surprise some teams as well in this tournament and make that final, in my opinion.
Well, everybody already knows what mine is. I have Austria in the semifinal. I'm a big fan of their squad. I really like Marko Arnautovic. I think they have a solid defense with Hinteregger, excuse me if I pronounced that wrong, and David Alaba. I think they have a really strong midfield as well, with Baumgartlinger leading the group. I think they have somewhat favorable matchups. I do think that game against Turkey, if it is going to happen, is going to be extremely interesting. I know, Aaron, we've talked about it, favors Turkey there, but I think Austria get it done. Making it to the semifinal, when your expectations, some might not even have them getting out of the group stage, even though I don't think that's reasonable, but some people would say that. I think that they are a clearly surprise team for my bracket, and I hope they do well, because I think they're a very young side, and if they can get through that far, that would do a lot for them going forward. But let's flip it around here. Let's go for the most disappointing team. Now, I have England winning it all. Aaron, you have England losing in the first round of knockout play. Who is your most disappointing team?
I really don't want to say that they're the most disappointing, because it's just an unlucky matchup. They're playing another top 3 nation or top 4 or 5 nation in the thing. It's disappointing that they're out so quickly. They're not going to be my necessarily most disappointing team, because I think they will definitely make it into the knockout stage. I think a team that can be very disappointing, like we mentioned, is Spain. I think the lack of camaraderie might not be able to get them out of even the group. I have them beating Ukraine like I have them in the round of 16 in the knockout stage. But I think, like we've mentioned earlier, their lack of camaraderie, they don't have a full-on captain. They've had a lot of COVID, I think, in their camp. So it seems like it's not the best scene right now for Spain. Don't be shocked if they finish third in their group.
Well, we know Akshay is going to disagree with you there. Who is your most disappointing team in the tournament?
I'm going to go Belgium. I think obviously it's championship for them or not. I think this is I hinted at this earlier. I think that this is their last opportunity to win a tournament. I think that on the international level, I think this is their last opportunity. I think the golden generation is slowly diminishing. I think we've heard this narrative over and over again. I think that this is their last shot, and if they don't, which I don't think they are, I think that is a huge disappointment for not only this tournament, but just for this golden generation, and the fact that they never really amounted to anything.
I think Belgium is a solid pick. I have them losing, obviously, before even the final. I have them losing in the quarterfinals, which would be a massive disappointment. But my most disappointing team in this tournament is going to be the Netherlands. I think that they have a lot of talent, and they looked like they were ready to take over the world with all the players they had. Memphis Depay especially looked like he was on pace to be a top 10 player in the world. And if you look at where those expectations were and how they've been performing lately, they're on two entirely different planets. So I have the Netherlands losing in the first round to Italy. I think that maybe the Netherlands have loftier expectations than the pundits do for them, which obviously would be even more of a disaster for themselves. But I don't see the Netherlands getting anything done. If I'm wrong, I'll put my hands up. But I think they go out in the first round, and I think it's a huge disappointment. I think Frank de Boer loses his job, and they really need to find a good coach that is capable of getting this group back together quickly. You guys have any final thoughts before we head out of here?
I agree that Frank de Boer is not the best coach. That's all I'll say. But I do like Netherlands.
Akshay, how about you? Final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I'm extremely excited. I think this tournament's going to be, exciting. I think it's going to be something that many people are looking forward to, especially with the pandemic. And I'm just really looking forward to tomorrow and seeing Italy and Austria kick it off.
Yeah, we are 25 hours and some change away from the first kickoff. Make sure you check out the Sports 2.0 network to stay up to date with all the action going on in the tournament, through the group stages, and up until the final. I've been Grant Mitchell. This is Aaron Yadgaroff and Akshay Kumbar. We'll see you guys later.